The following content has been provided by RWTH Aachen University.
The topic for today really is visual design. The material for this class today was largely taken from the excellent book by Robin Williams, The Non-Designer's Design Book, the 4th edition, and I'll give you a reference to that at the end of the slides. This is also why we won't be sharing publicly the slides for this this time. So you will get to them inside our closed learning environment in Moodle, but you won't be able to find these on YouTube for copyright reasons. I think I'm gonna, in the interest of time, I'm gonna skip over the review because we've already wrapped up the discussion of errors today. And so visual design, why are we doing visual design? Well, visual design is really the usability of the written word and the graphic design and the piece of paper, right? It's the usability of static imagery and text. And you might say, well, I'm not a graphic designer, so why should I care? Well, if you think about any user interface on your smartphone, on the desktop, on websites, your presentations that you're giving, your papers that you're writing, your thesis that you will be writing, any reports you write for labs or assignments, any posters you might be designing for conferences, flyers you might be designing for your startup, all of this has essentially a visual interface, right? And the rules I'm going to talk about today are actually applicable to all these media. So they're extremely useful, maybe even more universally useful than all the user interface guidelines we've learned about so far already. And what this lecture today will do is it will hopefully change your perception of static visual design, just in the way as reading the Norman book has hopefully changed your perception of interactive, simple machines and devices and everyday objects and their usability. So we could say, in a way, visual design is really the static foundation of all of interactive usability, because before you start thinking about what am I going to do in my software when the user pushes that button, you first need to display that button, and you need to think about how do I do that so that the interface is as clear and easy to understand as possible. As the author, Robin Williams, put it, if you apply the rules we're going to talk about today, your work, whatever it is, in designing any of these visual media I talked about, will look more professional, it'll look more organized, it'll look more unified and interesting. So that's a good thing to aim for. So you will be developing an eye for good layout and visual design of media. A lot of this was taken from the Non-Designer's Design Book, as I mentioned. It's a great book about design, clearly a recommended reading for you. And it's one that you will go back to again and again when you're designing posters, any kind of visual design interfaces and so on. But there are other books out there, for example, Designing Mobile Interfaces does a nice job of translating these rules into mobile interface design. It's a more technical book by Riley. And then there is one that I found in German, a Grundkurs Grafik und Gestaltung, that will take you through a lot of the graphic design basics that we've only been able to touch on here. But the Non-Designer's Design Book is a great first read. It's probably the most successful one in this field and written for non-professionals from this field. And just for kicks, to show you that we are able to learn ourselves too, before we included this lecture, which hasn't been in this class for too long, this is what our title slides would look like. And you can see we made all these mistakes, right? We used vertical alignment, oh my God, and we used sort of different shades of blue in this, and we used only one font. It's boy, all the mistakes I made there, I can't believe it. And well, once I learned this, I redesigned the slides, and this is what they look like today. So you can actually see things like strong alignment on the left, strong contrast, repetition of color, proximity, all these rules in place here. So we try to eat our own dog food. All right, so in summary, we've got the basic visual design principles, the PARC principles or CRAP ones, and we've talked about how to pick color, and how to work with type today and how to apply this to your own design. Thanks for listening, and I look forward to seeing you again next time.
This content was provided by RWTH Aachen University.